Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Core Brands podcast. Today, I am thrilled to announce that I will have Lyndsey Sweeney, the founder and creator behind Kind Jewels, on the show. Lyndsey has built a brand dedicated to create meaningful gemstone jewelry, with each piece featuring precious gemstones ethically sourced from around the world. Kind Jewels is more than just beautiful jewelry. It's a brand with a strong ethics policy, ensuring that every gemstone is responsibly mined and handled with care. Through Kind Jewels, Lyndsey brings a touch of beauty and integrity to the jewelry world, offering pieces that are not only stunning, but truly ethical. So, without further ado, let's dive into our conversation. Hi, Lyndsey. Very welcome to our Core Brands podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. So thank you so much for taking the time. I like to start off the interview with, icebreaker question. And I would like to ask you if you could have dinner with three people dead or alive, who would that people be and why?
Well, thank you for having me on. Uh, I love this question because I was actually thinking over the weekend, like, oh my God, there's so many people. But the three that I want to say is my great great grandmother, who I never met, um, Audrey Hepburn, and Donald Trump, actually. He is one. I think he's such a character. He'd be very funny and ridiculous. Yeah,
That's an interesting one. I was not expecting that,
yeah.
Lyndsey.
He's ridiculous, yeah, but he's fascinating as well at the same time. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Very
Mhm.
interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive deep a little bit more, kind of like into Kind Jewels. So I would like you to share with our listeners, what were you doing before you founded Kind Jewels, and when did you found it? And what
Mhm.
was kind of like the light bulb moment for you to, bring this brand to life?
Yeah, I mean, so this actually started, so the end of 2018, I decided to leave my job at the time and I wanted to go traveling around Africa, specifically the East Coast and then Southern Africa as well. And I just craved adventure and I had no inkling about starting a business or anything at this point. It was more just to see what would happen along the way on this trip. And it was so amazing. So we started in Kenya and then we moved around to Tanzania and Malawi, Mozambique, and then we ended the trip in Zimbabwe, which is my second home. It's a very special place to me. And whilst I was there, so when I was visiting Tanzania, so that's the home of the gemstone tanzanite. And when I was traveling around Tanzania, I was actually going through mining communities that were benefiting from the mining of tanzanite. And so that was like my first like, oh wow, this is really interesting. Like these really small mining communities are made up of large families, and in some cases the women are mining. And so yeah, I suppose it planted a seed, but I didn't realize it at the time. But what I was doing along the way as well is I was physically finding gemstone, like quartz rocks. It's a type
Okay.
of rough quartz. I'd find them on the side of the road or wherever I was traveling, and I'd put them in my pocket or my rucksack. And I
I
just
can
thought they were,
relate to that.
yeah, like I just thought they were pretty. And so I came back to Ireland months later, jobless, no job, and I was just thinking of making the best souvenir that I could out of those little rocks that I collected. So I just kind of started learning about jewelry making in a very basic way as soon as I came home, and I made some necklaces and was just absolutely buzzing. I found the creative process so interesting. I fell in love with it. And then I set up Etsy. I set up my first Etsy shop then in March of 2019. And friends of mine started buying some of the pieces. I was just blown away by it. And then months down the line, I set up my own website, and it just, yeah, it was it was very, it still is quite a steady, slow process. I still find it to this day.
Yeah.
But I I just was like, oh my God, this could be something, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So interesting. And were you like somehow connected with gemstones before your trip to Africa, or was this something that flourished when you were there? Or were you someone that already enjoyed buying gemstones and connected to gemstones before?
I always loved jewelry and gemstones, but I can actually trace it back to one particular gift I received from my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, uh, in 2017. So when we started going out, he had already planned to do his own bit of traveling. So we were long distance whilst he was traveling for a few months. But when I met up with him, after not seeing each other for 4 months, like couldn't wait to see each other. When I met up with him, he actually had bought me an amethyst gemstone. Like he bought me this rough, raw specimen of an amethyst.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I seen this and thought of you. Like this rough gemstone. And oh my God, like Roberta was so beautiful. It was like you see amethyst when it's polished and it looks similar, but when you see it rough, it's so incredibly amazing. It's like that's like the raw form of the gemstone. And so when he gave it to
Yeah.
me, I honestly was just blown away by the natural beauty of it. And yeah, I definitely from then on I was very taken by gemstones. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. That's a nice story. Yeah, it is. It is lovely. And then, so I would say it's been kind of like 6 years of Kind Jewels, give or
Mm,
take.
give or take, yeah.
Um, yeah, and is there any particular maybe before touching into that, I know that you were doing a 9 to 5 job while working on Kind Jewels, and I
Hmm.
know that recently that changed a little bit. Well, not a little bit; it changed a lot for you. So, do you want to tell me? Maybe in terms of the time that you give to the business and the time that you'll probably be giving now, how are things changing for Kind Jewels in that sense?
Yeah, so yeah, my last working day was on Friday. My 9 to 5 was last Friday. And yeah, so 2 weeks ago, my manager of the job I work at, so I was working for an American company, doing marketing and customer support for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
And so I can actually remember when things started to change for me, with this job where I noticed things were quite strange. Um, I could sense there was a bit of a restructuring going on. When I came back from my holidays, when I got married, after I got married in August, I came back in September. And I could just tell that things were so different. Um, and so I decided there and then, okay, things kind of seem weird, but I'm gonna just ride the wave. If there are people that are going to be let go, let's say, and I'm one of them, let's just ride the wave of that and see what happens. And
yeah,
funny enough, a couple of weeks after coming back from that holiday, a colleague of mine was let go. And I got, that kind of pit in your stomach feeling, when your stomach sinks from like,
Yeah.
like the shock. Even though I
Yeah,
had
like
like,
it's getting real.
yeah, it's getting real. Like you have that
It's
feeling,
getting real,
but
yeah.
yeah. And when she was like, oh, I was so sad for her. She was such a wonderful part of the company. She worked so hard. Um, and when that happened, I thought to myself, okay, I could be next. And a week later, was it a week or 2 weeks later, I was told I was the next one. And when I met my boss, like we met over Zoom, and so I was so calm because I thought I wouldn't be calm now. I honestly thought I'd kind of get really upset because I'm quite emotional, but um, and rightly so because it is still a shock. But I wasn't. I was
It
very
is.
calm. I was very calm, Roberta, and it was and I think my manager was expecting me to get really upset. She was there waiting for something to happen. And I just said to
Yeah.
her, I said, okay, this is the way it is then, okay. Um, and yeah, so that was it. So I finished up there last Friday, and I've just felt like this was meant to happen, and not in that kind of cliche way. I just really feel that what's for you won't pass you by, and what happens to you happens for a reason. Like it's not for no reason. It happens. And so, you know, I really feel that in my heart about this. So I'm excited for what's to come because with Kind Jewels, I can finally put more of my effort and time, especially my time, into it. And because, I'd have to work it around my day job. And
Yeah.
I actually would feel quite sad about it at times. It's like, oh God, I want to devote so much time to this. But I do it at the weekends. And I would sometimes do it during the week around the job. And I just felt like I wasn't giving it enough that it deserved because yeah, my time resources were not there. So I see it as a good thing. And I am still scared though.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big change, but I do believe the same as you that, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. So this might be, a sign of change for Kind Jewels and, a turning point. And I'm excited to see what's gonna happen.
Oh, thank you.
That's great. That's great. It's also great that you are on that mindset as well, Lindsay, because I think I shared this with you. I had a similar experience back in 2019, and I thought I would be calm and, okay, and not emotional. But eventually, when I got to meet with HR with my redundancy, I was so sad and disappointed with myself. I took it personally and I was actually ashamed. I did not share this with anyone apart from my close family. I didn't told anyone because I was actually embarrassed. People thinking, "Oh, she's not good enough." And it was really hard to overcome that. So I'm very glad to hear that you are in a complete and the right mindset to deal with this because only good things can come out of it.
I really feel that. And it's such a learn. I actually had a similar experience years ago when COVID hit, because I was let go from another job in COVID, and that was quite upsetting. I actually found that really hard to deal with. But maybe I've had a bit of practice, and that's why this time
Yeah,
around,
yeah, maybe that's it. I was
maybe,
not like I was expecting it, but I had no
yeah,
practice.
yeah,
And although, sometimes we would joke at lunchtime between colleagues, oh, the redundancy package might be great. And, if they're letting people go, we might get the
yeah,
redundancy package. But then when, things happened, that was my last thought. Like I was not thinking about that at
yeah,
all. I was just thinking about my value and my worth for the company. And I felt
yes.
really bad.
Wow,
So yeah.
Roberta. I hear
Yeah, I know.
you. I hear you. Like and look at you now. Look at you now.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing amazing.
Um, Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about kind jewels and about the way that it's centered around ethical sourcing, and how is that one of your core values for the brand? You're very concerned about the sourcing, and I would like to know. And this is something that I'm personally curious because I think it's so hard sometimes to find suppliers. How did you build your supplier kind of like network, and how did you go into finding, the right partnerships that align with your core values for the brand?
Yeah, I mean, so I had that spark from when I was in Tanzania. I had that spark of reality of the
Yeah,
positive side of mining for communities for their livelihood. And so I knew from the get-go I wanted to chase that and have that as my value, the number one value. So how I did it, there was a lot of outreach. There was a lot of reaching out to any suppliers I could find and just asking them questions like, where does that gemstone come from? And, do you know who mined it or whose hands it passed through? Like, where's the cutting facility? And it took a while. That's the thing. It took some time to find one I was truly
yeah,
comfortable with and that could really give me that information I wanted. And I found this particular lady, so it's a husband and wife duo in the UK, and it's so awesome because they, as a couple, they travel to these mining facilities that they partner with, and they travel to the cutting facilities, so they see everything. And their number one policy was no child labor. And
yeah,
that was their deal breaker. That was a deal breaker. And I was just completely struck by that because inside I was always looking for that. That was like the number one for me is I didn't want any child having to be dropped down to a mine and have to mine for gemstones, which is very common in these parts of the world. Not just for gemstones, but for coal mining and
yeah,
things like
yeah,
that. It's very real. And so they cease all partnership. If there's any breach in the no child labour policy, they cease partnership. So they keep everything quite small and artisanal. So they don't have like a huge network of mines because of that. And
yeah,
the next thing was that the miners would receive fair wage and, you know, a fair working wage for their hard work. And that was one that was really important to me because well, I mean, they work the hardest out of everybody. They're the ones that are going down into quite dark, dangerous places in our earth and underground.
yeah,
And the other part of it was health and safety protocols. So, in some cases, it's quite basic health and safety, so just hard hats and that kind of thing. But what I found was that with this particular supplier, it was very important to her. And then, of course, very important to me. But through research, it's amazing the amount of mines that don't have any health and safety. It's absolutely incredible that they're down
yeah.
these dangerous
Shocking.
areas.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's absolutely shocking. And adults, like grown adults, are doing this without any protection.
yeah,
And so when I found her, like straight away, after some conversations, I knew this is the one. And so, because it's such a limited, strict policy, like there's some gemstones I won't be able to ever get my hands on because they're not strictly, they don't have that ethical assurances, those three ethical assurances that I wanted. I can't get some of them gemstones and that's okay. It's all very limited and I am really glad for that because I feel like you can kind of feel that in the jewelry when you're making the jewelry and when you're wearing the jewelry, you can feel that sense of integrity through the pieces. And most recently, I've never stopped learning about the whole ethical policy because I know I can always do better. And when you know better, you do better. And I would really, really love to eventually get into fair mined gold because gold is such a dirty mining and very dangerous mining.
Yeah.
Uh, it's so awful. I mean, I lost like a friend of mine through the the awful effects of gold mining. So fairly recently, and he had no choice but to do the gold mining in northern Zimbabwe because he lost his job during COVID, and he had to do this. He had no other option, and he got very sick from the toxins that are used to extract gold. There
Oh,
was
wow.
no masks, there was no nothing. He was
Yeah.
basically going down there and just doing what he had to do for his family. And he developed liver disease, and his lungs were greatly affected, and he sadly passed away there quite recently from it. And
Oh,
so,
Jesus.
yeah, it's like, gold is such a horrible, horrible mining if you're not
I
using
had
the
no
right.
idea.
Yeah, yeah,
I had no idea.
yeah, I know it's just, yeah, it's that kind of dark side of it, isn't it? And when there's no protection there for the miners, and when there's no protocol there for the miners, that's the kind of the flip side. So that's why I feel like it's more important to actually uh understand that that's a reality, but that there's good minds that don't abuse people like that. So
Yeah, that's really important. And now I understand as well a little bit better why the ethical aspect of the business is so important for you. And it's kind of like the baseline and the foundation of, all the jewelry that you make. Um, are you planning, because I know on your social media and your marketing, you touch a lot about the ethical side of it.
mhm.
But I think that are you planning to maybe advocate more vocally about that? Like the thing that you shared now with me. I think many people would not know this type of stories and the type of the impact that, gold mining would have on our health. So I was wondering, is this something that you will be, advocating more going forwards? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was fairly recent when that friend of ours got quite sick, and it really made me kind of push pause a little bit and assess, like, okay, what exactly do I want to do down the line? Because I use gold, and I absolutely eventually want to invest in better gold because that's it's so hard to just know that that is actually happening,
Yeah.
and you kind of nearly feel helpless. I mean, I'm such a small business that it's something I'd love to invest in down the line is fair mined gold, where the safety is guaranteed, the
Yeah.
the quality of their experience is guaranteed, and their wages and everything. Right now, I'm not there yet, but I would love. That's like the next thing I really do want to talk to people about is gold, because some people don't wear maybe gemstone jewelry, but they might wear gold, and
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to talk about it down the line. And it's it's just, yeah, there's a lot when it's only like I've only digged a little bit of the surface of it. I really feel like I there's so much more I need to learn about it, that's for sure. Yeah. But it will be that's the plan down the line. Yeah.
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 Wow. Um, yeah, so I just learned something new today. I didn't know any of that, so that's sad and really interesting to know as well. So in terms of, building your brand and Kind Jewels, what were, I know that it was hard to find suppliers and looking for, partnerships. Was there any other difficulties or obstacles you found when, putting the brand together and, going live and saying, this is Lyndsey, I own Kind Jewels and I do ethical jewelry. What were the obstacles or kind of like the challenges and how did you overcome them?
The main one was I really did not have a clue what I was doing. And to a lot
I
of,
think we all can
yeah.
resonate with that.
Oh, I had such a lack of business acumen. I had no idea about business. I had no capital. I had no finance. And so when I came back from that trip and I months down the line, I wanted to make it a real thing. I got a full-time job and started funneling some of that money into this sourcing and making the pieces and getting them out there. But I mean, looking back, I think I just had a very idealistic view of the whole thing of, my belief was I'll figure it out as I go along. And I think that really helped
Yeah.
me through, in at that point because gosh, I had so many lessons along the way, so many challenges, but I just kept thinking, I'll learn from that and I'll keep going. And it was that kind of mentality that I really recommend for anybody starting a business. Just
Yeah.
just do it and don't think too much about it because if you think too much about it, you won't do anything. Um, but yeah, the biggest obstacle was not knowing anything about business, not having finance. And I suppose looking back, I wish I did get a mentor, have a
Yeah.
mentor at the time and just maybe learn a bit more. Just learn a little bit more before starting. Yeah.
Yeah, mentorship is really important. I didn't get a mentor as well when I started my business. And the funny thing is that when you start a business, like in my case, I knew I was good at design and branding, but I had zero business skills. Like nobody teaches you in school how to, they
Mm.
teach me how to be a designer. They did not teach me how to build a business, how to track my finances, what I do about, marketing and all of that. So I
Mm.
eventually invested in a coach last year. So it was only when I was nearly 4 years in business that I actually decided it was a
Wow.
good idea to invest in a coach. And it's never too late. So
Exactly. It's never too
um,
late. Yeah.
yeah, because I think you're absolutely right when you say just don't think too much, just do it, just keep going, you learn from your mistakes. And that's the advice I give to anyone that asks me my opinion and my take on that. I think if you want to do it, just do it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You don't need to let go of your job straight away. Just start as a side thing, and then you'll see how it goes. That's always my advice because if you don't try, you never know.
Oh yeah. And life
And
is
the best case
worth
scenario, it works out.
exactly, exactly. I love that. Yeah. I mean, it's such a life can go very fast and it can feel shorter sometimes and longer other times. And I think when you just just do what it is you love or to give it a go, I think that's
Yeah,
something that will really stand to you and your experience. Just give it a go.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love the way that you show up on social media and how authentic you are, Lyndsey. Like I said that to you before. I
Thank
really
you.
resonate with the brand, and I think it's just you show up in a very simple. It's not elaborate, but you show up really authentic and come across very real, and I think that's really really good, and a lot of people appreciate that as well.
Well, thank you so much.
Um, so I wanted to ask you as well, what are other brands out there that inspire you or other founders you look out to, people that, you keep in the back of your mind, oh, one day I would, have something like this, or, who inspires you?
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot, but there's two that are coming to mind, and one of them is Laurie Fleming. So she is a Canadian brand and she creates the most beautiful nature inspired pieces. They like to look at them, you think, that's what a fairy must wear. Like that's jewelry that a fairy must wear. They're so beautiful and dainty, but real, you know, I always say, if someone thinks your jewelry looks delicate, but it really isn't, it just looks delicate. I think that's like the aim, beautiful, dainty, delicate looking jewelry that's solid. She has that. But then I also I have another lady who I met through social media a few years ago during the pandemic, and she was so inspiring to me. She is AM Thorn. So her name is Ashley Thorn, and her brand is AM Thorn, and she creates the most beautiful. She's based in America, and she makes lovely organic pieces of jewelry with a special focus on moonstone. She loves moonstone, and she works with rainbow moonstone and peach moonstone and
Wow.
gray moonstone. I mean, there's so many moonstones, and
I love Moonstone. Yeah,
it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful,
it
and
is.
she just makes beautiful pieces and just lets the gemstone shine. Like the gemstone is the focus. It's so beautiful.
That's amazing. Um, okay, so we're almost coming to the end of the conversation. But before we go, I would like to ask you what's next for Kind Jewels? Any exciting plans,
Mm.
new products? What's coming?
Oh, it's so hard to switch my head off. I'm sure you're the same. Like you're always thinking like 10 steps ahead. You're like, well, what will I do next? And I mean, for at the moment, I want to keep working on the ambassador program and just see where that goes. That's just been really interesting for me, and I'd wanted to do that like since the beginning, Roberta. I had that in my head, and it's only happened now in recent months. So I am really excited for that. And down the line, I really want to create like an online course for people to learn how to make a simple necklace or simple earrings. And because there's a lot of people that follow me, I know that are really interested in the craft of jewelry making. So
Yeah.
I'd love to maybe do something like that. And it's just something that's really simple. It won't cost a lot of money. It'll be really affordable for people to do that online, and it'll be a short course. And I'm going to be releasing a small little simple Christmas collection of pieces very shortly as well. So, um, there's there's probably more that I'd love to do, but I need to like rein myself in.
And is there any plans, kind of like, to have your jewelry in any retails, or are you doing any markets, or where are
Mm.
your selling points?
Yeah, so I'm online exclusively. I did have a few pieces years ago in a small little shop in Boyle in Roscommon, and they were all sold out and everything, but I never brought pieces back to this particular craft shop, and I've been trying to get my pieces into some local craft shops, but I I've been refused every time. I think it just hasn't obviously my I might not be right for people. So that hasn't happened really on a bit of a bigger scale. I would love that. But for now, it's going to be just online, and I might do a market before Christmas. I don't know yet. I need to see. I might do one before Christmas, but I'll let people know if I do decide to do it. Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
yeah. Stay
Cool.
tuned.
And from what you've accomplished so far with Kind Jewels, what's the thing you're most proud of?
Oh, just keeping keeping going with it because I think I can have a lot of doubts about it. And I've had more doubts about it in the past compared to now because now I've just made peace with the way things are. I think if you can make peace with how things are now and enjoy it because I enjoy it so much. I really love it now. And I don't want to lose sight of that because if it ever comes to a point where I don't enjoy it, I that will just break my heart. So I love what I'm doing right now. I really enjoy where it's at now. And anything that comes down the line is a bonus for me. And I think just riding the wave of it all
Yeah.
has been the thing I'm most proud of, actually. Yeah. And like the ethics policy speaks for itself. That's something that I'm really happy with. And down the line, I would love to just visit these mines and actually show people what they are, what they look like, and just the reality of it. That's something I would love to do down the line. And if I could do that, I'd be very, very, very happy. And yeah, just keep keep talking to people about gemstones. Like I would love if for me, like the dream scenario is that people go to their jewelers, whoever they are, and they ask their jeweler, "Oh, where did that gemstone come from? What's the story behind that gemstone? Can you tell me where it came from? Can you tell me the conditions? Can you tell me any of that?" And I think that would be such a dream for anybody to do that because
Yeah.
I think a jeweler wants to provide this information. They maybe just haven't. They just don't have the tools yet to get that information, but they can. They really can. And I think you can empower your jeweler to go off and find the information. And if they don't want to find the information, then, you don't have to deal with them if you don't want to. But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
buying a piece of jewelry is a luxury and it's a privilege. So if you can, try and suss out the origin of your jewelry, of the gold, of the silver, of the gemstone. And I think most jewelers will want to do that for you because I think when they know better, they'll do better. I really think that. And I think that would be just so amazing for people just to ask questions. Mm.
Yeah. That's a great point. Thanks so much, Lindsay. Yeah, that's really a good point. Okay, to wrap up our conversation, where can our listeners find you online? So if you want to share your links, and is there anything else you want to share about Kind Jewels, something that is going on? Feel free to share so in this space.
Oh, thank you. This has been such a wonderful conversation. So thank you so much for doing this.
You're very
I just am
welcome.
so excited for you and for this, and I can't wait to see who else you speak to. I You can find me online. You can find me on kindjewelsjewelry.com. And in a few weeks' time, I'll be doing a little sale for Christmas, so people can keep an eye out for that. I update regularly on my Instagram, which is the same handle, Kind Jewels Jewelry, and sign up to my newsletter if you like. I really enjoy that. And I'm keeping the emails to a bare minimum. I don't want to annoy people. So if you like emails, sign up if you like. And the fact that you're one of my ambassadors is so lovely. I'm just so, so delighted that you jumped on board for that. So I would say check out Roberta. check out your links.
No, this is not about me, Lindsay. You're the
Check
guest.
it. You can check out Roberta. Well, we could check out your ambassador link. That's it. People should do that.
Yeah, and you can check my beautiful necklace, my citrine necklace. It's
Gorgeous.
Kind Jewels. It's absolutely stunning, and I get so many compliments. So simple and, just so beautiful, discreet, just as I like it. So, yeah.
It's very, very minimal. I love the minimal pieces. So I do. Love them. Very
Yeah, I
pretty of
like
you.
it. I like it a lot. Lindsay, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, and I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.
And yeah, I wish you and Kind Jewels all the best. And I can't wait to see what's the next chapter and what's coming. So I will be on the lookout. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Roberta. It's been great.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Core Brands. If you want to learn more about my guest journey, support their business, or shop their incredible services and products, you can find all the links in the show notes. And if you are a new founder looking to build your own core brand, head over to my website at coreinformdesign.com to see the many ways we can work together. I'll catch you back here in 2 weeks for another insightful conversation with an inspiring founder. Until then, take care.